What's up, guys? This is Crypto with James talking to you today about Chia Network. Now, Chia Network, I do think can run up pretty well in price from where it is right now, but there are a couple bits of hesitation I have with regards to it and concerns I have that I actually want to talk about, along with why I think, what price I think it can reach based on who they're working with and what they're trying to do. But the concerns I'll share, and you can decide if they're legitimate. Before I get into that, though, if you're new to the channel, these are the first 26 coins that I actually spoke about on this channel, and they're the first 26 coins I owned when I created the channel in 2020. Had you, or 2019, can't even remember now. Had you just put in $100 into each of these coins when I released videos about them, and then you ignored them for 2 straight years, you did everything wrong. Even doing everything wrong, that $100 into each, that $2,600 investment would have netted you a profit of 6.3k. If, however, you sold these coins last year like I did, when the markets were rocketing up, $100 into each of them, a $2,600 investment would have netted you a profit of 123 grand. Now, as I said, I sold all these off last year. These are not what I own. If you want to see the coins that I own right now, you can go to copymycrypto.com. On that site, I share my portfolio. The members get real-time updates whenever I buy or sell a coin. We have videos released on a daily basis talking about the markets, which are watched heavily. And if that interests you, obviously that's there. We have tutorials set up as well for people that are brand new to crypto that genuinely don't know anything about crypto. Same ones that I send friends and family. And look, guys, we have a history of success on this channel. We have a history of success on the site. We've had big wins across both, not least of which is obviously Phantom. No one in 2020 spoke about Phantom. No one. Except me. I did a Udemy course titled The Best Cryptocurrency Investment of 2020, and it was Phantom. Said it would 100x or more. It did a 677x. Now, I'm always looking for the next Phantom. I will find one, and when I do, I'm going to go onto my site. I'm going to tell the members about it. I'm going to tell them what price point I think it can hit. I'm going to tell them why. I'm going to tell them what percentage of my money I'm putting into it. They can copy along. They can make the same gains. And if that interests you, where you want to take the work out of it for yourself and finding those big gainers, then just go check the site and understand everything on the site can be verified through the history of the YouTube channel. If you enjoy it, maybe I'll see you there. Right, Chia. Currently priced at $28. Decentralized network. Created by the man that created BitTorrent, Bram Cohen. And the project is headed by an experienced senior management team, including former NASDAQ CEO Gene Hoffman as the COO of Chia Network, and Overstock.com CEO Mitch Edwards as the CFO of Chia Network. Now, this has also been backed by some of the biggest VCs in the space. It raised $61 million in funding in 2021. And these VCs included Andreessen Horowitz, Slow Ventures, Naval, Ravikant, The Galaxy Digital, and others. Now, Chia has done something very different from what we've seen before. They've got what's called proof of space with proof of time. So the proof of space requires miners to keep tons of unused storage on their hard drive. In this scenario, the miners install specialist software that allocates free space, which is then used to solve a challenge, similar to sort of proof of work, cryptographic and mathematical problem. Software stores a collection of cryptographic numbers on the miner's disks, and when upon block creation, a challenge number from the previous block is taken, miners just scan their numbers to check if they have a number close to the challenge number that is required. Proof of time demonstrates the passage of time through verifiable delay functions, similar to the way Solana's system works. So the Time Lords are nodes that document time and ensure that time is correctly documented for solving the proof of space functions. And they use their own programming language called Chia Lisp, which is an on-chain programming language that's smart contract compatible and takes the most important components of Ethereum, Solidity, and Bitcoin Core, but keeps Bitcoin's UTXO model. So easy for most developers to be able to jump on board and start building. Now, Chia are doing a few things that really interest me, on top of the fact that they've got a very, very strong team, not least of which is a couple of those members have very, very good and clear ties to stock exchange. They are focused on carbon markets. So they're bringing transparency and efficiency to carbon markets. Now, carbon markets have been a sector that hasn't really developed in the way you would have expected over the past sort of 4 or 5 decades. So their goal is to increase access and create real inclusion into the carbon markets, and they want to establish clear standards and transparent pricing for a previously sort of illiquid asset. So what they see as the opportunity is via the partnerships that they've built and the platform that they've got, they can focus on enabling cross-border, cross-market, direct investment into high-quality, valid carbon mitigation projects, which benefit the investors, the project developers, and most importantly, the environment. And the platform brings unique transparency and integrity and traceability to that voluntary carbon market. Now, for this to be achieved, they have obviously are going to require really strong connections, which they can get thanks to the sort of team that they've got. And if this were to happen, and if they can succeed in really solidifying a carbon market, then we could really see a huge boom in terms of Chia. Now, it's a fascinating approach. It's going to be very challenging for them to effectively create the first transparent and open carbon market. But if they can do this, and they are backed by trusted registries, they have been benchmarked by the IFC with the tokenization track through the Climate Warehouse, and they're approaching something that, while I'm not particularly bothered about it, we are in a sort of world right now where governments are highly focused upon bringing carbon emissions down across every country. You know, everyone has their sort of global target or their national targets, and there's global targets to be achieved by 2030. And getting cooperation with particular governments would be a real sensible approach to this. Now, if Chia can do this, there's a lot that can happen from it. In terms of price appreciation, because obviously Chia would be the coin that would fuel the ecosystem. As a result, you would have a growing use case for Chia. On top of that, you know, Chia does have their grant program, which is the way in which they are fueling the growth of the ecosystem. I'm always bullish on grant programs because that shows that you're pushing to develop more and more and more. And you can see the projects that have won so far. But what they have got, based on their token model as well, or based on their white paper, is the way in which they're fueling it all. So they initially mined a ton of Chia. So right now the data is not very clear, which is real annoying. So this is the negatives for me, because the circulating supply is said to be 6.06 million. However, when you look at Chia's network, you look at Chia Scan effectively, was 21 million mined. We know there was 21 million mined. In fact, it says it here. Pre-sale, the current supply, 22.5 million. Were pre-farmed to help fund the creation of an administration of Chia. So the tokenomics don't match across multiple sites, whether it's CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap, or Chia's own network. Also, when you look at the white paper, end of year 1, 24 million, end of year 2, 27 million, and so on and so on and so on. And when we look at Chia right now, launched in May of last year and ran up really well in price. I mean, it hit $1,600. Now, we're a year and a half in. So, based on their white paper, we're in between 24 and 27 million right now. Although when we check where we are right now, we can see currently 27 million. That's what it's saying based on the supply growth chart of XCH scan. So this doesn't match. That's a frustration. What I also have a concern with is this is a private company. Now, I don't mind private companies. Private companies are successful. You can invest in private companies and stock. You can invest in public companies, private companies. You can do what you want, right? I've got no problem with that. But the issue I have is that fundamentally these are a business that are aiming to become public companies. So Chia Network is a public, for-profit, open-source company that aspires to become listed on the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ. Its blockchain is aimed at enterprise use, which is why Chia Network has plans to have XCH on its balance sheet in case of a listing. But the problem I've got is how much do they have on hand? And you can obviously track, the biggest accounts. So the top accounts, 9.1 million here, 9.1 million here, 1.3, 1.3. Just there alone, you've got 20 million tokens. And my concern is if they were to list publicly on the NASDAQ, and fundamentally, look, they're a for-profit business. So if they want to sell their holdings, they can sell their holdings. That's no problem, is it? And that's my concern. Because right now it's saying it's got a market cap of 170 million, but you've then literally got a wallet here. Where the hell's that wallet gone? A wallet here that has 258 million worth in. You have a wallet here that's 258 million worth in. So the issue for me is, if it's a publicly listed company, they can do what they want. They own the company. They're well within their rights. If they want to sell their holdings to bank some money, they can. And they could crash a network. They could crash the market. So it's a really dangerous game in that regard. But Chia is so unique in terms of what they're trying to achieve. I still think it can run up in price. Now, the question is what can it do? I mean, I would make the argument that logically it could run back to $900 on that circulating supply, because that would be what, 5.4 billion? That's 5.4 billion. That's not insane. But if it's running up to $900 when it's got a supply of 27 million, which is what we're being told right now on the Chia network, then you're looking at a market cap of effectively, let's call it 27 billion. That's a ton. That's a massive market cap. So when we're looking at what happened last year, obviously it peaked, this was like when it launched, but the market had a second wave in the sort of winter, and it ran back up to $214. That's probably where we're looking. 200 for the next bull cycle. We're probably looking between 250 to $300 for the next bull cycle. And even at $300 on the current supply that we've got, that puts it just shy of $1 billion. I think this probably hits $1 billion. So I make the argument for $400 for the market cap. But this is one where I'd probably stay away from it because there's a few things that are of concern. Because obviously they've done some good stuff. Like they had the NFTs come out and they did about $600,000 worth of volume only a month, 2 months ago. I can't even remember. And that kind of volume in a bear cycle is pretty damn encouraging. However, we're looking at a circulating supply that is massively controlled by the company. The companies get listed. You can't legislate for what individuals that run a business like that are going to do. So it's one I'd probably stay away from. Certainly in the bull cycle. In a bear cycle, it's probably fine because right now, it's not got a huge price point. It's probably going to run up to a few $100. I reckon $400 is probably where we're looking because that would put it in market cap of about $1 billion based on the supply. But I wouldn't be buying it in a bull cycle because you cannot legislate for what the individuals behind the company are going to do. And it is a public. And if they do end up landing on the NASDAQ, you don't know how they're going to react to that. You don't know what they're going to do to that. Because it could be that there's a huge run on it and they rally really well. And then as a result, Chia runs up. Say if Chia runs up to like $500, $600, which it could do feasibly, could run up to 1,000. But if they're holding, 9 million of them in one wallet, that 1,000, if it's run up to $1,000, that's $9 billion. They could just dump it on the market. So it's one of those where I'd be very, very cautious about this as a public traded company, or they aim to be a publicly traded company, because we've seen what individuals do. Look at Sam Bankman-Fried. Look at Alex Mashinsky. Just as to name drop a couple of people that have acted with disregard for the people that have used their services. So something to consider. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Would you invest in it? Let me know. Yeah, that's it from me, guys. And if you're a returning viewer, hit the subscribe button. It helps the channel, and the videos will make you money, so don't miss them. And it's a nice thing to do. Makes me happy. It's Christmas-ish. And guys, if you want to see the coins that I own right now, you can go to Copy My Crypto. The link's above me and in the description. It's where I share my portfolio. I give the members real-time updates anytime I buy or sell a crypto. I release videos on a daily basis talking about the markets. On top of that, guys, we have tutorials. So if you're brand new to crypto, the tutorials run you through how to get started. Plus, this channel and the site have such a history of success. You can follow it. You can copy it. No one spoke about Phantom in 2020. I did a Udemy course dedicated to it. Said it would 100x. It did way more than that. Did 677x. $2,000 would have made you a millionaire. When I find the next Phantom, the next coin that I think can do those gains, I'm going to go onto my site. I'm going to tell my members about it. I'm going to tell them why I believe it can do the run I think it can, what percentage of my money I'm putting in, and they can copy along and make the same profits I do. If that interests you and you want to take the work out of it for yourself, make life easy, then just go check out the site now, guys. And that is it from me. Take it easy, folks. Bye-bye.